Bonjour and welcome back to Lux Minds community. My name is Irini and today we're going to be talking about the one, the only, of course, the Emily in Paris, or as I like to say, Emily Bankrupt in Paris. Now, like many of you, I've also been wondering, how can Emily afford this lavish lifestyle in Paris given her current salary income based on what she does for a living? So I wanted to really get down into the numbers and break down exactly how much money I think Emily is making in Chicago, what her expenses are like in Paris, whether, covering her living expenses, her food, and of course, her wardrobe. We're gonna break it all down here today, so let's get started. Okay, so I get it. Emily in Paris, Emily is a character. She is living in this fantasy world where it makes total sense for someone who's earning 60K to be spending 94K on just her wardrobe. But in our world, in reality, it makes absolutely no sense. And I'm tired of seeing characters on TV or in movies that are financially illiterate and have no idea what they're doing when it comes to their spending. Why? Because it sends the wrong message, especially to the younger generation who is watching, especially to the young adults trying to figure it out in life, and you're trying to figure out how much you should put in your 401k, what kind of health insurance you should be spending money on, and you're watching a show where this girl is buying all these Chanel bags, all these Chanel blazers, living this amazing lifestyle, so fashionable.
How can she afford it? If she can afford it, I can afford it.
But in reality, we can't. In reality, we have bills to pay, emergency funds we need to plan for, because when a global pandemic hits and you lose your job, how are you gonna pay for your rent? These are things that we need to think about. This is the financial characters that, just the normal characters that I wanna see in TV shows and see how they handle this. But of course, TV is about escapism and not having to worry about our real life problems. So I do understand that. But I wanted to level set and bring Emily down to earth and show you guys that this is pure fantasy. So in the show, they never exactly tell us what Emily's title is in her company, but we can guess that she's somewhere between a digital strategist or a social media manager. Based on my research, I would say that Emily is making around $60,000. So that's what we'll start off as. Now, let's jump into the numbers when it comes to her wardrobe. I know it's the elephant in the room. Let's break it down. Okay, so I'm trying to be as forgiving to Emily as I can, and I'm gonna give her the benefit of the doubt when it comes to her wardrobe and say that some of the items that she owns, she probably has acquired over the 2 to 3 years that she's been working, buying a Chanel here, a Chanel there, Chanel everywhere. But, there's things that I'm sure she purchased ahead of her big trip to Paris when she found out that she was gonna be going there. I'm gonna pick 3 outfits of hers and dive deep into the numbers and costs. And you let me know if you typically spend this much on one outfit. So let's jump into it. On her second day of work, she was seen wearing a Chanel blazer and a Chanel purse and these heels. Now the heels she also wore when she was working in Chicago, so we'll say that she's owned those and that's not new. Now, the Chanel blazer, $4,690. Facts. The Chanel purse, $4,300. Let's add it up. Pretty crazy, right? Come on. Outfit number 2, Chanel jacket that she wore to the marketing event. This outfit comes out to over $7,000. And I just don't understand where this money is coming from, right? It's pretty much insane and hard to wrap your mind around that this girl who makes 60K a year is affording a wardrobe that's so beyond her means. So I want to give a shout out to the Traveling Architect, who has a YouTube channel here, and she went into detail and broke down the cost of some of Emily's most expensive outfits. I'm going to link it down below, but I went through and added up the cost of what she had. The total cost came out to be $94,000. 90? Like, how? I don't even think Emily is saving that much when she was living in Chicago, maybe 10, 20K in total, but definitely not enough to go all out.
Now, Emily did mention a relocation bonus, so even if she did use that relocation bonus to go towards her clothing, it's still not going to be anywhere near $94,000 to cover her spending. Relocation bonuses will range from 5 to 10K, and they're taxed pretty heavily, so you'll probably get a lot less than what, they're marketing towards you.
What I'm assuming that Emily would have done is opened up a bunch of credit cards, max those credit cards out and she's probably paying the minimum amount. Emily, our dear Emily, is going to be in thousands and thousands of dollars of debt. And with season 2 around the corner, you know she's gonna need 10 new Chanel bags, 10 new Chanel blazers, and this girl is gonna be hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt. Now let's get into the food, because oh, our dear Emily loves to eat every single day out. Scene after scene, Emily can be seen eating out, whether it's for breakfast, some tea and croissants, or if she's having lunch with a bottle of wine, or dinner, steak with her friends. Emily loves to eat out. Never once, not once, did I see Emily use her huge kitchen in her maid's quarters. And not once did I see her go grocery shopping. Now, there was a montage where they showed her in a farmer's market walking around and picking things up, but never her actually carrying a bag out. I think at the end of the scene, it's her with a Chanel bag, not a grocery bag. So I'm saying that based on my average cost of what I looked up, she's spending around $10 for breakfast, and there's some shots of Starbucks coffees in the season, okay? And she's spending around $25 for lunch. She is getting a bottle of wine, you know, splitting it with a friend, but whatever they're getting for an entree, it's gonna add up. And then probably $40 on her dinner. She's going out, she's having steak, more wine, it's gonna add up. So that's gonna be $70, 7 days a week, 4 times, 4 weeks in a month. So she's spending $2,100 on food. Is this not crazy? $525 a week. Could you imagine going grocery shopping and spending that much money? You could feed a zoo. And Emily is feeding her little self, okay? Definitely overspending in the food category. So in episode 1, Emily tells us that her company will be setting up her living arrangements and helping cover the cost. If Emily's manager had been going in her place, I'm sure the company would have covered 100% of the cost, but because it's Emily, lower in ranking, I'm gonna say that they're covering 50% of her living expenses. Now, they introduce her apartment as a maid's quarters, but I mean, come on, it's like a chateau, okay? She has this amazing view of Paris, huge windows, this space for a queen-size bed. This is living large in Paris, if you ask me. So I did some research and looked up what some actual people in Paris are spending on their apartments and what they believe Emily's apartment would go for, and the range was $2,000 to $3,000. I found one that looked like hers online. It was around $250. So I'm gonna go and say that Emily is spending, you know, $2,500 on her apartment. Now, her company's covering 50% of that, so Emily's cost for her living expenses is gonna come out to $1,250. Now, let's not forget utilities, which is gonna come out to around $50 US, and I signed her up for a phone plan in Paris, which comes out to be around $30 US. So we tally that all up, and that is going to be her total living expense, which is going to come out to $1,330, okay? Emily is making around $60,000. So that's what we'll start off as. And then we'll go ahead and remove taxes, federal and state. And then if we divide that by 12, it brings out her monthly income to be around $3,800. And now what we're gonna wanna do is, of course, give Emily the benefit of the doubt here and say, you know what, Emily is definitely putting away a small percentage of money towards her 401k, which of course we all should be doing as adults, putting at least the match contribution of your company, but Emily is still financially, you know, learning. She's not as literate as we are. We're gonna say she's putting away 3%, and that would come out to around $115 a month. And then we're gonna give her basic health insurance for $60 a month. If we subtract that, it brings her spending out to be $3,600 of what she has left over for her income. All right, guys, so if we tally up the numbers, and we said that she was making like $36.73 after her taxes, we add in her $1,330 for her living expenses, and we add in her $2,100 for her food, and this girl has $243 left over. And this is supposed to cover, you guys, her savings, her emergency fund, her credit card bills, and her wardrobe. Something's not adding up. What? How is this possible? How can you tell me that this girl walks around in 20 like Chanel bags every day, but this is how much money she has left over from her paycheck once she covers her basic needs? This is pure fantasy, and it shouldn't, you know, make you think that you're not living an amazing life because you're not spending as much as Emily. You are a lot smarter than Emily. You are making better financial decisions that will help you shape an amazing future for yourself, while Emily will be bankrupt trying to pay off her credit card bills for the rest of her life. I hope this was helpful for you guys. If you liked seeing this and you want me to do similar videos like this, let me know in the comment section below. And of course, please join the Lux Minds community. We talk about making smarter life decisions, especially when it comes to your money, and we're always looking for new people to join our community. And I will see you guys next week, new videos every Wednesday. Please stay tuned for more. Bye.